Hello, hello, hello. It's Heather here with Naturally Present. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to another episode of the Naturally Present Life series. And just to remind you of the intent of this show, it's really a place and a platform to bring together people who are interested in raising our vibrational consciousness and people who are engaging in work and self work, as well as supporting others in really learning to be or to live the change that we wish to see in the world, or the change we wish to see in our own lives, or the change we wish to see in ourselves, really stepping into that. So finding the tools and the people and other sorts of communities that are working together in this realm and finding the places to connect. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, before I invite in our special guest, I'm just going to talk a little bit about vibrational consciousness, because I do get asked about this. For some of you, that's going to be a super familiar term, and for others, it's brand new. You're not really sure what it means. So I wanted to just touch briefly on that before we engage with our guest. So vibrational consciousness really is talking about, we know that the world is energy, right? Everything is energy. It's energy in motion. That's what our dimensions, our world, our life, everything is made up of. And vibration means fast or slow. It's just moving at a certain frequency. And so vibrational consciousness is really about learning to align your consciousness and your thinking and your words with your intention, and allowing that to constantly be raising you up to a higher place within yourself. So moving out of the realms of self-doubt and limitations and things that hold you back, and moving into becoming who it is you really want to be, who it is you really need to be in order to be and in order to live the change that you wish to see in your life and the change that you wish to see in our collective world and in humanity. So vibrational consciousness is really about becoming aware of your thinking, becoming aware of your programming, your programmatic beliefs, the things that are in your subconscious running your show. It's really about being aware of the words that you choose to speak into existence in your life, because all of that stuff is vibrational in nature. It's all energy, and it creates. Energy creates. That's our world. You know, the cool thing for me right now is that there's a lot of books and research on the spiritual stuff, but there's also a lot of books and research and papers on the scientific aspects of these, and they're really coming together right now. That, like, for example, the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you get a chance, check out his stuff. So it's just, you know, I do speak on the woo-woo terms and the spiritual terms, but it's also understanding that, you know, science has proven the energetic world that we live in. And so as human beings wishing to consciously participate in the creation, it's really important to be aware of how you're vibrating, what frequencies you're emitting in your thoughts, in your subconscious beliefs, in the words that you speak, in the actions that you take, in the things that you write, in how you engage with someone, and how you think about another human being that you see outside of yourself, the thoughts that you send to them, the energy that you send to them. Really about being aware of the energy you put into anything that you're doing, whether it's a project, whether it's if you have a desire for a change in your life, a new career, or you want to invite a different relationship into your life, or more love, or more friends, whatever it is you want to call into your life, a more peaceful existence, a more positive attitude, healthier habits, whatever those things are, it all starts with a thought, the desire, the thought, and aligning your energetic frequency to match that person you are when you're living that truth, right? It starts on the inside and it works its way out. That's vibrational consciousness. And learning how to work with your frequencies and learning how to work with your thoughts and your thinking, and through meditation and all those different tools that you have available to become aware of where you're putting your energy, to become aware of how you're thinking, to become aware of the words that you're choosing to speak into existence. That's how you start to create real and lasting change. Because, you know, if you think about, for example, the diet industry, that's an easy one to call forward. But, you know, you pick up a new diet and you maybe change your habits for a short time, but all of the vibrational frequencies and the subconscious programming and the thoughts that you're thinking in your head, if they don't align with that life change, it doesn't last. Hence the yo-yo dieting and things that goes on. So anyway, I just to bring that to your awareness, because I do get asked sometimes, what the heck do you mean by vibrational consciousness? And so just to break it down to building up an awareness of your thinking, building up an awareness of your programming, which does require some deep diving, and building up an awareness of the words that you use, and building up an awareness of the actions that you take every day, and ensuring that those are vibrationally aligned or supportive of that which you wish to see in your world and in your life. So I hope that's helpful. Any questions, please let me know. And again, if there's any topics that you'd like me to cover here, or anyone that you'd love to hear experts come in and speak on a certain subject, please let me know in the comments below, or you can reach out to me, email at info@naturallypresent.com, and I would love to connect. And without much further ado, I do believe our guest is online. I see her in the waiting room, so I'm just going to go and bring her in. I will be right back. So today I'm super, super excited to welcome this beautiful gal to the show. Her name is Misha Almira. And the tools that are on her tool belt, the tools that she carries around with her, is quite an amazing and impressive list. So Misha's an entrepreneur. She's a liberator, a transformational guide, a breatharian healer, an energy medicine practitioner, and also a Mesa Carrier, which I'm going to have some questions about a little later on. And through her work, Misha helps individuals to engage, to rise, and to thrive on all levels in order to finally live the life that they were made for. So if this sounds like you, stay with us. Welcome, Misha. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to join you.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good to see your smiley face.
Likewise.
And where are you today? Where are you situated on this globe?
I'm in Boone, North Carolina, in the mountains.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I have such fond memories of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where we met.
That's where we met. Not that long ago. Just, you know, just a little while.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So thank you so much for coming and joining us today. I'm super excited to dive into some of these tools that I've mentioned here in your bio, just to learn a little bit more about that. But I'd love it if you could just share a little bit with us about the journey that brought you to where you are with your work in the world right now.
So I started out meditating and learned to teach meditation. And then I went out into the world, and I started noticing I was being called to shaman work. It was just an inner calling. It came in my dreams. It came with animals visiting me. It just felt very, very strong. And so I said, okay, I'm going to embrace this. And actually, funny story, before I went to sleep one night, I said, okay, I'm going to embrace this, whatever that looks like. So I want to see if I can invite a power animal tonight while I dream. And while I was dreaming, this beautiful cat, huge puma, came, and it started circling me. It put its head down, and all of a sudden I got really scared in the dream. I took it and I body slammed it. And then I woke up. And so I was traumatized by this. I started looking for a shaman teacher, like, what did I do? I killed my spirit animal. And they just laughed at me. But that was my original, what got me looking for a shaman teacher. And yeah, it was just funny. So I wanted to share that. So then I started studying that. I studied that for quite a few years, and got into a training, and then decided to become a Mesa Carrier, and which is actually, we can talk more about that in a little bit. But so I went from just going to a shaman to heal myself from traumas that I felt like just weren't really releasing, and just were stuck in there. I didn't know where they came from, why they were there. I just knew they were holding me back. So I started going for healing sessions, and then it went into mentoring, and then gradually into wanting to help others in the same process.
Oh, beautiful. So I just want to jump in for a second and say, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I do live in cougar territory. We have them around. And just the other day we had a lynx in our backyard. Yeah. Oh. So you just reminded me of that.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
I would love to see one of those. Wow.
Yeah, and we often have bears in our backyard. And I you know, spirit animals are a little bit different than when you see them, but I do feel a blessing when one of these incredibly wild animals comes into my actual environment. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. We just had a bear the other day too. I've been here 2 years, and the first bear sighting. So awesome. I feel the same. It is a blessing.
Yeah. I don't think that way about the squirrels, because I see them all the time, and I probably should not put them lower on the totem, but there you go. So amazing. And I love what you shared, that, you know, it's really often people who come into this kind of work, it's really, like you say, it's about looking for that self-healing. And then when you discover something, really wanting to share that craft and that magic with other people. and help them to rise up as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's so much humor along the way as well on these paths.
So much humor. Yeah. One of the things that I love is the ability to look like an idiot for a little bit, like just, to allow yourself to be floppy and not perfect. And that's
Yeah,
where the real healing can occur, right?
yeah, exactly. Huge
Yeah.
gifts there
Yeah.
for
Awesome.
sure.
So I want to know what Mesa Carrier means. That's stuck out to me.
Okay, so a mesa is actually a medicine bundle, and it's stones or things that you have gathered and put your medicine in or your powers in that you've worked with. Mine is stones that I have worked with in my own healing and charged them in transmissions and rites. And then you carry this, you wrap it up and you carry it with you. And so in the sessions, when I open that, it's like a portable altar or a portable portal. And then you call in the allies, and then you use these stones that have your medicine in them, your power in them, and then you can take that and use that to implement healing with others. And ironically, the Andeans in the Sacred Valley of Peru, they call the mesa the Misha, and it's
Oh,
spelled the same way.
no way.
And I didn't know that for years, so that's kind of cool.
Very alive. It's funny because prior to you popping on today, I just talked a little bit about vibrational consciousness and how everything that we think and everything we speak and every word we write, it's vibrational. And
Yeah,
how if you want to make lasting change in your life, whether it's a new career or new habits or whatever it is, that you really need to align all of that with your vibrational consciousness. And so it sounds like, you really stepped into something even with your name there, right?
yeah,
It's
yes.
amazing.
Everything I know, and it's so ironic that just keeps coming home more and more about vibration and about intentions and about frequency, and that everything is affected by it
Yeah.
in every single moment.
In
So,
every single moment. And I love that. And this is another thing I just shared before you popped on, but how, the spiritual and sort of the woo woo has been around, and the scientific has been around, but there's a real marrying of those two things now. So both people from the left and the right hemisphere of the brain can find the same information, and the alignment in that, even it's exciting.
yes, exactly. I just did a video on water
Oh,
and Dr. Emoto's studies and how the structure, the molecular structure of the water changes with different thoughts, and how some of them are beautiful sacred geometry, some of them
not so
look like
much.
pond scum.
Yeah.
So yeah, science and woo woo for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. So I'd love to hear a little bit about Breatharian work, because that is one of the things that you do. And so I
Yeah.
know that there's probably some people, some listeners and viewers here who could probably have never heard of it. So I'd love it if you could sort of give us a 101 and then talk about your work with that.
Yeah, so Breatharian has been very powerful, working with pranic energy or life force energy or chi to bring it into the body to heal the mind, the emotional body, the physical body, and then the energetic body. And it's incredible. And I actually started studying it because of my lifelong struggle with food addiction and overeating and binge eating. And so one of the biggest things around that is not being able to just cut out food cold turkey, or, it's everywhere. It's in social events.
Yeah.
So that's how I originally found it, is that I wanted to find a healthy way to develop a relationship with food,
Mm.
be able to cut out, as much as I could. So what I learned through the breatharian practices is that it's really about filling up with prana and filling up with something that's going to nourish you on every single level. And it really does that. And so when you take food away, then you're full. You're not depriving yourself. And that was key for me. Um, is being able to go, because emotional eating was the biggest thing that I was having. And so again, it was those, repressed emotions, the areas that are in your subconscious that is causing you to have the struggle with food. And so with the breatharian technique, they were going right to those places and kind of clearing it out, but also filling it up, So then I didn't really need food. And that was what really hooked me in, is that, oh, wow, you know, this is filling me in a way that nothing else has, so that I'm not desperate to have this food for coping.
Right. And to satisfy the emotions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Can I just clarify, just for anyone listening? So do you eat food as well right now?
Right. So I was going to go into that. I do eat food.
Okay.
That was the thing, is that I started with a dry fast in the transition,
Right.
but then you can eat food. You just have a better relationship with food, so that now I want healthier foods, and I have a tool that can fill myself up so that I can eat or I cannot eat. But it allows the part of me that always had to have food to cope to actually make a healthy choice.
Right. That's
So
powerful.
yeah, so food's an option instead of, you know,
Yeah.
life or death.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's beautiful. And this is way out there, but there is some discussion around what's happening with our food supply chains, and with everything that's going on in the world, it's not a stable thing to rely on. And so having a tool that you can use, not necessarily to just always be breathing and that's enough, but just if there is a lack of food, or you're on, winter time, I can't grow my garden, I can't get the best greens, to have something that can take that place is pretty powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. It did feel very empowering, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, to have those tools, because we're sitting there going, okay, if they're cutting off the food supply, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And so to have these tools to be able to actually survive off of is, yeah, very empowering.
That's
very
amazing.
huge.
And also for me, the big highlight of my life lately has been whatever I can do to strengthen my immunity and my family's immunity. Like, that's key. You have to have a strong immune in order to fight what's coming, right?
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the healthy relationship with food is like, it has to be there. And I know for me, there's been a lot of changes that have been very positive, and just, it's like we talked about earlier, is this creating a new habit. It's really about vibrationally aligning. So bringing that awareness in first, and then aligning my actions with that, have been so powerful.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool. So you support people do you teach the breatharian work, or is it work that you do within your healing and coaching, or
Both.
both?
So yeah, I definitely, in the there is a breatharian healing session that is all the pranic work. I also implement it into the energy medicine sessions, if I'm guided to do that. And then I also have a more refined a course on food addiction that I teach the actual techniques for that to assist people.
Great. And that course is online, right? Anyone from anywhere can do it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And your healing work, do you also work virtually with people?
Yes.
You do. Okay,
Yes.
great. So they don't have to go to Boone, beautiful Boone. They can reach you online.
Yes, and actually I've had some of the most powerful sessions remotely. So it really is, you're stepping outside of time and space, and very effective, beautiful just transformations that can happen.
Wow.
I love
Amazing.
it.
Yeah. And so what do you do for continued personal development for yourself in this area?
Well, I do these techniques every day, every morning. For grounding, for clearing, for raising frequency, vibration, raising I have depression that I manage and struggle with sometimes. And so for me, this is part of that managing, because like any autoimmune disease or, rheumatoid arthritis, like you're going to have flare-ups.
Yeah.
And so for me, and at times of stress, that depression will kick in, and where before I would not be able to get out of bed, or, really struggle with it, now these techniques actually help me to kind of, clear it out at 5. And so I'm able to actually move and take actions and manage it when it's in that time, when it's a bad day, when it's a stressful period. So I do that. And then I do grounding and clearing with the shamanic exercises too. And I do those every day to start.
Wow. So you start your day
going.
off with those. Yeah, that's amazing. So
Ideally.
pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference.
Yeah, very cool. So you have clients that you work with, but imagining you know, that for people who have been in this realm of work for a while, it's easy to talk the lingo. But for someone who's never, they know that they need help with something and they come across you, but they're not quite sure if they're ready to take that step or what it looks like or anything like that. What piece of advice would you give to someone? You can see they're kind of on the edge of being ready. How would you coach them to make a decision of what's right for them?
So I would definitely ask them where they're finding challenges, you know, in their physical life or, you know, in their professional life, you know, where is it that they're feeling like they just are really hitting that wall, you know? And if it's physically, then we would talk about where that is for them in the body. Is it pain? Is it, you know, is it something that they have to take medicine for? And we would start at the physical level is normally where I talk to them. And then if it's something emotional, if it's something, you know, stressful that they just can't get past, if it's a relationship they can't let go of, we would talk about that. So I'd really want to see, you know, which level it was that they're looking at. And then I would address that and talk about how we can go in and kind of, you know, relieve that. Because this work is energy, and yeah, there is a language about it, but it gets down to the very basic level, the very, you know, physical. My ankle is sprained. Will this healing help? Yes. You know, my eyesight's strained. Let's, you know, let's work with that too. So, you know, it can go down to like the very basic, or it could go up to the most refined. And it's really just a matter of a conversation about it and seeing where we want to go in and start work.
Beautiful. So you have a lot of different tools on your tool belt, as we said. And so I'm kind of gleaning from this that as you work with someone, you let whatever tool or techniques to be presented to be the way that you work with them.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, some people or most people aren't going to come in and say, you know, I got this energetic block over here that I'm concerned about. I want something, you know, that's not something that we're thinking about while we're stressed out at work and, you know, or can't get over our divorce, or, you know, we've got these problems that are like right here for us. So that is actually the majority of the work's going to be, you know, I got this physical issue going on. Right. Let's start there. And then it goes, you know, you can trace it back to more and more and more and really go deep. But and then, you know, some people, they're in a place that they feel like they want to not just go to somebody else for healings, but they kind of want to learn how to do those techniques themselves and, you know, work with it at home, work with it at their own pace. Yeah. And so, or even work on others, be able to help others. And so I offer a mentoring coaching as well for that, because you know, a lot of people are feeling a call to want to step into more of that and not just always depend on another person for the healing. Right. So, you know, and it's really, again, a conversation of what are you being called to? Where are you feeling like you're hitting a wall or stuck or in pain?
Yeah. Awesome. And then the last question I have for you is Liberator. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you mean there?
Yeah. So in my own journey, it's really, a lot of it has come down to breaking the chains of what's keeping me imprisoned and keeping me bound and tethered into this, like, if just feeling imprisoned, and you know, whether it's emotionally or physically even. And especially, I think a lot of us can relate to that right now. Yeah. With, you know, all the extra rules and restrictions that are being put on us, and, you know, when you have felt oppressed, or, you know, like something's got you nailed down, the thing you want to do is just break free. And so through that medicine and that healing on a personal level, it has gone into that, where a lot of the sessions end up going into is freeing that, you know, that feeling, that control that's been over someone. And so yeah, the Liberator is really looking at those things that are keeping you limited, keeping you bound, that you're afraid to step through. And then let's go there and let's like break it apart and be free, feel free. Feel free.
I love it. One of the things that particularly when we first went into the shutdowns and lockdowns and when this whole thing came about, is I felt like humanity was being put in a timeout. Like there are certain lessons we need to get, and we weren't doing it because we're so busy. So we
Yeah.
got put in a timeout in order to do that inner work.
Yes.
Now I see, things are starting to open up. People are desperate to get back to normal. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever go back. And I don't necessarily think the normal was the right normal. And so when you started talking about that, I see this as the time for us to really, really go in and do this work and align our vibrations, get our consciousness up there so that we can start to live and be the change that we want to see in the world, right?
Yes, and I've talked to so many people that feel that way since this lockdown. So it started as you can't go out, you have to do this, you can't do that, and then what it ended up happening is people have been freeing themselves and really getting down to what's important and what's not, and doing that work because they're forced to, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Really beautiful
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah. Time for liberation.
Yeah. And we're all kind of moving together in this.
Yeah, and I know that this video is evergreen, so I'm not sure when you're listening or to it or watching it, but we are right on the cusp of the summer solstice. So we are June 19th, and we're heading into a 3-day period where I know there's a beautiful ring of fire eclipse happening over, I think it's Asia and over in that area. We won't see it here in North America, but a super powerful weekend. So I do hope that people will be taking the time to meditate and focus on their vibrational frequencies over the next few days.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any special plans for that time?
I am actually going into a ceremony with, I'm going into 108-day ceremony. So every night, and I'm doing it with the light and the dark aspects of the feminine, the divine feminine. And so that I'm starting that on the solstice.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Awesome. Very, very powerful. Thank you for doing the work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So do you have anything else that you'd like to share about the work that you do or how you work with people?
I feel like we've covered so much of it. I know lately I've been feeling called to do more around anxiety and really going into these spaces that we feel like are getting shaken up. And I feel like that's a big movement that we're all kind of going through.
Yeah.
And really facing these parts of ourselves that have been in shadow and have been, in the subconscious that are bubbling up. I feel like that's part of the reason for all this, actually, the deeper reason.
Yeah. So, awesome.
Yeah,
so anxiety.
I just invite everyone to embrace those things.
Yeah. Run away from them, not hide them, not eat to stuff them down.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just kind of rock them, be gentle with them, find your way of embracing it.
Yeah. And just have awareness, right? For me, I mean, as you know, I'm a big proponent of meditation. And so it's really about cultivating that ability to witness and observe whatever it is that's going on. And it doesn't always look pretty and it doesn't always look light and fluffy, but being able to allow and to witness and watch and not be caught up by it or not identifying with it is just so key right now. Always. Especially.
Yeah, you're such a beautiful example of that. You really embrace that in just your daily living, and it inspires.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Always good to hear that. All right. So just to wrap up, I'm going to jump into our rapid fire questions. So hopefully you're ready for that. Number one tool or technique that you practice to keep yourself in balance each day. I think you touched on that, but
yeah. And also meditation every day. So I kind of have the things I go through, the grounding, the breatharian, and then meditation.
Awesome. And can you just clarify for everyone, like, are you like putting aside 3 hours in the morning or how long are you taking to do this?
I usually like about 20 to 30 minutes of meditation, and then the grounding takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes if I want to spend more time on it. The breatharian techniques, 20 to 30. So
yeah, perfect. I just wanted to make sure we're not scaring people away from it, thinking it's a 5-hour a day commitment.
5 hours, yeah, no. Definitely
awesome.
Not.
Yeah. Okay. The number one habit that you struggle the most with?
Lately, it's exercise.
Oh, I hear that from so many, and myself included in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, you know, that's the thing that can set my day to be just amazing. But I have really, you know, creative ways to avoid it.
Don't we all? Yes. All right. So if you were sitting with yourself 5 years ago, what one piece of advice would you give to you?
To not fear my dark side and my own power.
Mm, yeah.
Been a long time running from that, and
Why?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where the gifts are,
Yeah.
the juice.
Beautiful. Are you reading anything right now? Is there a book?
Yes, actually, I started reading Awakening Shakti by Sally Kenton.
Beautiful. Awesome. Good book?
It is so far. Just started reading it, but I really like the idea of bringing out the creative parts. That, you know, the parts that are just like, let's go live and let's create and let's like leave beauty in our wake everywhere we go. I feel like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Shakti energies, magic.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And final question, just I will post all of your links, but if you can just briefly touch on how people could connect with you if they want to learn more.
So my main site is mishaalmira.com.
Okay.
And then I sent you the other links. I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Great YouTube channel. If anyone hasn't checked it out, I do highly recommend it. And what's your most, which social media platform are you most active on? Or are you?
The Facebook.
Facebook. Okay, perfect. Facebook, YouTube, website. This is Misha Almira. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us today, Misha. I really appreciate the time you've taken.
Thank you.
And the
Thank you for
gifts,
inviting me.
yeah, and the gifts that you share with the world, like, and for stepping into it, like you say, it's easier to just sit back and not step into the fear or the unknown, and like you've done a remarkable job of it, and now you're sharing it with the world, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's my first podcast, so I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for you inviting me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you've done great. You very calm and cool and collected. So yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to stay on,
You
so
too.
I'll let you sign off and then we'll connect another time.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right. So that was Misha Almira from Boone, North Carolina. We have known each other for many, many years, and I have talked a little bit about my story of the 6-month meditation, and we actually went through that program together. So we've known each other for a while. But we didn't connect for a long time. And then just recently our paths have recrossed again. And I'm super grateful. She's a beautiful human being who's doing some really incredible work. And if there's anything there that calls to you, then please reach out to her. I know that she has helped some people along the way. So if that's the type of assistance you're looking for, please reach out. So again, thank you for joining me on the Naturally Present Live show. If there's any topics you want to hear about, let me know. If you want to come on the show, if you want to step up and do your first interview, then please come and join me. Just reach out, let me know, and we'll get it scheduled. And if you have any comments or feedback about what we talked about with Misha Almira, please let me know. Other than that, wherever you are on this glorious planet, I hope you have a beautiful day, a beautiful evening, a beautiful night. And if you are catching this prior to the solstice, have a wonderful solstice. Enjoy the powerful energies that are going to be flowing this weekend. All right. Bye for now, and peace out.